after the break, after this lunch break, a musical break, I would say, we are back with our post-lunch session, and that is completely on tourism, rethinking tourism, and later on niche tourism. So once again, hearty welcome to all the audience in North India PRAVASI Divas 29th Annual Convention of ICSI, Future of Service Industry, where we are focusing on education, skills, technology, tourism with research and innovation. Education and skills part you have seen earlier. Now we will be more focusing on tourism along with technology and what all is there for this particular niche segment. So before that, just to appraise all the dignitaries, those who have joined. In the morning, we have started at 9 a.m. and there we have a brief introduction, and therein after the inaugural session has been inaugurated by Chief Guest, the Honorable Minister of State for Education and External Affairs, and he has appraised us on what India is thinking as far as education is concerned and development is concerned, and obviously not in the present times, but seeing the 100 years vision, that is 2047 India growth. And thereafter, we have also been there with a special address by Advisor to Administration Duty Chandigarh, Dr. Dharampal ji, and he also guided us, give us his vision on development of Chandigarh in particular. Then we have the technical session 1, session chaired by Shri A.P. Sharma ji and the eminent guest speakers, that is completely on future education. That was. And the technical session 2 on higher education. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we are here with our session 3, technical session 3. And this session is going to be chaired by none other than the legend in tourism, the chairman of Stick Travels, Dr. Subhash Goyal ji. And we are very fortunate that his guidance is always there with us, for us, and he is always there to guide on tourism and give his vision onto this particular field. This technical session has been titled as Rethinking Tourism Post-Pandemic, Tourism Business and SMEs. So without wasting any time, let me introduce everyone, our guest panelist, as well as our session chair, Subhash Goyal ji, speaker, Shri Subhash Verma ji, and Dolly Bhasin ma'am. Ma'am, I request if you can just open your camera as well, and you can come with us. And there's someone who has joined us as Smart Edge. So I just request everyone to please open the cameras. Okay, fine. Right. So to begin with, I'll just say Shri Subhash Goyal ji. Sir, please, you take this session as a session chair and start the session. And later on, there are a few people I know that those who have not come, I'll just keep checking on to that. But in the meanwhile, we can start if you allow, sir.
So thank you very much. I think we are still waiting for Mr. Srivastav and Mr. Kundu and Mr. P.P. Khanna. And from Mr. Shikhar Travels, Captain Sudesh Kumar. So anyway, we have to start on time. So as you know that 2023, there's a lot of hope and there are a lot of challenges as far as the tourism industry is concerned. The hope for the tourism industry is that after COVID-19, in 2022, domestic tourism did pick up substantially, but international inbound tourism did not pick up the way it should have. We did not reach the 2019 levels, which is in 2019, we earned, around $30 billion in foreign exchange, and we had about 11.5 million tourists. So in 2023, I'm confident that we will not only reach the 2019 levels, but we hope to exceed them. If the so-called Chinese pandemic uh, does not come to India, I am confident that this will not happen, because in India, thanks to Modi ji's and the Health Ministry's initiative, more than 1.5 billion people have been vaccinated, and they've received both the vaccinations and this. And somehow I feel that the Chinese vaccination did not work. That is the reason why the people of China are suffering. Anyway, we have protocols in place that people coming from China need to show their vaccination before they land into India. And then we also need to know that, you see, even the connecting flights that are coming from China, we have a right to screen them, and they have to uh, offload, upload their vaccination certificates on the airport's portal in advance. So I'm confident that if the government, because this is the India has got the chairman of G20, which is a very good opportunity in 2023 for India to showcase itself. And so if we cannot achieve all the targets in 2023, we'll never be able to achieve. So we need to put our act together, and we need to work as one team, jointly with the tourism ministry and all the industry associations, including the Ministry of Health, Ministry of External Affairs, and Ministry of Home. So with these words, I'd like to welcome the panelists. We have very expert panel with us. My dear old friend, IC Subhash Verma, who has played a very important role, and he was General Secretary of Faith, and he's also one of the founders of AD2I, Association of Domestic Tourism. And in ITM also, he was very helpful to me when I was chairman of ITM, and he really played an important role. Then I see, Mr. Naveen Kundu has not joined us yet. Mr. Kundu, are you there?
No, sir, he's not there.
Okay. Mr. P.P. Khanna?
He's also not there, sir.
So Dolly is there, Dolly Basin. She's an IT expert.
Sorry, ma'am. Sorry, sir. Even we have joined by Gurpreet Sibal, ma'am. She is from Canada, an aviation expert. So again, from tourism.
So welcome, Gurpreet ji. I didn't have your name, so I think you'll have to introduce yourself. But welcome to this important session. So I think let's start with Dolly Basin on the technology front. I think since we have so many speakers and time is restrained, we will limit everyone to not more than 5 minutes. So try to wind up in 2 or 3 minutes, so that then we can have a second round. So just in points, you tell me, what is it India can do in tourism on the technology front, and what are your recommendations? Very briefly. You have to unmute yourself, Dolly ji.
Thank you very much, Dr. Subhash Goel, to give me an opportunity, and ICSI team to really give me the opportunity to speak here. I've been working in the tourism sector for a couple of years, mostly in the technology front, but today I stand amongst you as a tourism a professional, and I'd like to really kind of speak as a tourism expert rather than as a IT person only. So coming down to the actual what I'm going to speak, I need to set the context right, which is basically to share that we we are having a great potential for tourism, and we have a shared responsibility to make sure that it's fully realized. This is what was said by UNWTO Secretary in the 2022 summit, UNWTO Tourism Day. And today we have an opportunity with the G20 actually being as a part of the main we have India has the presidency of G20 summit, and there are a whole lot of opportunities that are going to open up to really have tourism as being made more inclusive, more resilient, and have a sustainable growth. UNWTO recommended 23 actionable points for the recovery, which highlights the steps that the government and the authorities need to take. There needs to be a lot of emphasis on innovation challenges, innovation and competitions to identify new ideas and help tourism return to its sustainable growth. The guide, which provides the 23 actionable recommendations divided into 3 categories: managing the crisis, mitigating the impact, and providing guidance to country on policy measures and accelerating recovery measures while preparing for tomorrow. Now, putting people first is the most important thing, which means that we need to support jobs and skills. From the start of the pandemic, UNWTO has been stressing on this fact, and there's a lot of work which is being done in terms of allowing people to benefit at large through jobs, education, professional development, and capacity building. This is the time that we need to focus on tourism education in a much bigger way. While during the for the impact, there has been a whole lot of IT-enabled environment that has been created by UNWTO, which includes the tourism tracker, the tourism barometer, and data insights and analysis of the key indicators for both inbound and outbound tourism in the global, regional, and national level. Online policy trackers can give you a complete snapshot of what is happening across the world and what is really being appreciated and what is that is in demand. And this is going to really help a lot if we really take cognizance of it. And that's actually taught into the tourism, not only in the education stream, but also to the tourism and tour operators. So, rethinking tourism is a novel approach by us through SmartEdge, which is a platform for innovators. I've been focusing on innovation for a long time, and I look at creating a smart tourism opportunity for tier 2, tier 3 cities, where smart is basically half of the world's population lives in urban cities. Now we have been concentrating on certain tourism destinations, and we've been concentrating on what you call Golden Triangle and some of the very prominent tourism destination. We now need to change focus and try to really come down to creating opportunities in the tier 2, tier 3 cities, where smart is basically the major ingredient of where you are having an ability to solve the problems, understanding speed, flexibility, and accuracy in the quality of having experience, knowledge, and good judgment. Now, as a platform, we have been helping a lot of innovators to really innovate, to solve local problems, convert ideas to tangible visualization, and also having a focus on sustainability, innovation for good, inclusion, and governance. Now, this is how we really look at that if we can combine the smart cities and the smart tourist cities to really create smart tourism destinations, we have a great opportunity to really solve some of the problems and to meet the kind of target that has been set for us to really revive tourism. We need to think tourism as a smart tourism, and the smart tourism actually is on the fundamental of the smart world, which technology plays a big role. There are a lot of travel tools that we are using, but we also need to really look at beyond this thing and include the traveler into the the whole process. And while we are doing that, we need to really look at three things. One is that we need to really move towards green tourism, where there is low impact on environment. We have a technology enhanced tourism, and also provide safe tourism. Green tourism, as everybody knows, is basically trying to balance out the environment, economic, and the social aspects of tourism. And I'm not going into details of it, but the technology part of it, we need to really integrate the whole value chain and try to create a seamless interface where travelers are not our customers, but they are active, what you call prosumers. They also consume the product as well as produce some of it in the whole process. Voluntary tourism, educational tourism, all kinds of other opportunities need to really be brought into the fore of tourism to make the yeah. So I'll just finish by saying that the smart experiences, smart business ecosystem, and smart destinations, which need to drive the whole process, and which effectively means a complete ecosystem has to be planned, in which all the service providers really come into the, where we imagine the tourism from 3 points of view: the people, planet, and profit, which rest on the pillar of context, collaboration, community, and commerce. And if time permits, I'll really talk a little more on it, but I'd just like to share that one of the cities I've already
been... Once the round is over, then we'll give you another chance.
Yeah.
So can you just conclude? No problem. Just conclude.
Right. So I'll finish by saying that there is one city that I have been working on, which is my city, Udaipur, where we have reimagined tourism, and Udaipur has taken a lead in the process, in the whole process. And what we have done is to be able to really position the first G20 meet as the destination for the first meet, and that has steered a whole lot of activities of tourism, which are high impact tourism, but might not be so high value or mass tourism, but very, very focused sustainable tourism options. Like the Udaipur World Music Festival happened in December, and in January we had the Art Festival, World Art Festival, where artists from 10 countries came and participated and actually collaborated to create art forms. And this is where, in summary, whatever we want to achieve, we need to really bring in a lot more emphasis on sustainable tourism, which include the youth, women, Tier 2 and Tier 3 cities, people who are physically challenged, disadvantaged communities, Northeast regions, as well as new forms of experiential tourism. And I've been studying the way in a city like Udaipur. I think if each one of us adopts a city, we can actually make a real transformation in not only rethinking about tourism, but reimagining the way it should be done and actually start doing it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think that was a very comprehensive presentation, and you covered virtually everything. So thank you very much for that. And now I'll ask my dear friend Subhash Verma to make his presentation. Subhash, not more than 5 minutes, please.
Yes, Subhashji, thank you very much. I actually was meant for the next session, but also I'm part of being ICS as advisor. So I will just say 2 minutes, you see, only on when the topic of rethinking tourism comes. I know the tourism is a growth engine for GDP, for employment and economic activity, yes. Once we talk of rethinking tourism, and I think today there are two aspects. One, the wellness and spirituality, I'll speak in the next session. But I think today, the world is going through a global conflicts between various countries. Look at Ukraine and Russia war, look, Iran, China, all this. I think is by rethinking, tourism can be a potential tool for the global harmony, global peace, and to avoid of all these conflicts. Even United Nations and WHO, they should think tourism can be a big. It's a people's voice beyond even media. People to people connection is only tourism can do it. So in some time media is not playing very positive role in tourism and all. So people's voice, people to people touch is one of the major element of in rethinking tourism. And on wellness, I will speak in then more in the next session. That's my view.
Thank you very much, Subhash. It was to the point and very, very well said. Now I'll check if anyone from Make My Trip is there. So I'll ask the organizers to ring up Mr. Kundu and Make My Trip so that they join. So can I request our friend from US or from Canada? What's your name? Can you introduce yourself?
Let me call Mr. Kundu.
Hanji, can you introduce yourself? Vermaji, put yourself on mute. You have to unmute yourself, Gurpreet ji.
Thank you, Dr. Goel. I'm actually, I am between Canada and India, somebody who flip-flops all the time. So I am not directly connected with tourism. I was supposed to be part of the education topic. So I just want to give my apology that I might have logged in at the wrong time. But yes, tourism is definitely, I am one candidate who has never stopped traveling, even through COVID. Because Canada is home and India is home, and there is no way that I can, be away for too long from either. So I apologize, but I can log in again at the
Apologize. Traveling is the best education. So you are in
best
the
education.
yeah, and I believe
I have been a traveler for 35 years.
Are you connected with any airlines?
I have worked with Air Canada for almost 20 years on the IT side in training and education. I was heading the training, and it was probably a very good phase when we were going into the electronic age. So from the paper tickets to the electronic tickets, so I have seen the best time in the industry and done a lot of training. And I know that without aviation and without tourism, our schools and colleges will never be able to come up to the mark of education. So definitely we learn a lot. But other than that, like as being a tourist, I have not dealt with tourism directly, always from the other side, whether through electronic media or as a tourist myself. So I'd like to, I wish to join in when the education part comes, because I'm currently totally into education, from IT in North America to vocational in India. I'm working closely with Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship and Beauty Wellness Sector Skill Council. But that is vocational training that we are doing here, and I'd love to talk in detail about that during the education topic.
So thank you very much. Can you just spell out your email ID, because we'd like to invite you in one of the educational sessions.
Yes, it is GSEBLE. I can put it in the chat if you like.
GSEBLE.
At hotmail.com.
Okay, fine. Thank you. So I'll send you my email ID, because we represent 12 international airlines in India. Stick Travel Group,
okay,
a charter company, and we represent Holland America Cruise Line and 4 other cruise companies and LMO rent-a-car company. So we are India's largest B2B travel company. So thank you very much. And
thank you.
Has anyone else joined?
So we have Subhash Verma sir with us.
No, that he has already spoken.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have tried to call Mr. Kundu. His phone is not available.
Call also Subhash. Call PP.
Sir, Mr. Khanna, I've talked to Mr. Khanna. He's his internet problem is there, so that's why he's not been able to join. But if you allow me, I would like to ask, because I am also a keen learner of tourism, sir. So
why don't you give us your presentation?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I am not ready with the presentation, but I have few questions. If you allow me,
Yeah,
I
sure.
will want to ask there.
Oh, sure.
So, sir, because this session is all about rethinking tourism, and we have seen that how tourism has gone down in COVID. So, everybody is talking about niche tourism, and everybody is talking about sustainable tourism. But what sustainability is actually giving to the mass tourism or the regular tourism forms? According to you, what exactly sustainability means for a tourism?
See, the whole planet of ours is talking about global warming, is talking about how to have sustainable development. So tourism is a part of the planet. You cannot isolate tourism from other industries. So what we mean by sustainable tourism is that while we are doing tourism, we have to be very careful. For example, when I was president of the Indian Association of Tour Operators, we brought out a booklet on the do's and don'ts for mountaineers. That when they go to the mountain, they should not only collect the garbage which is put there, and they should recycle it. They should also avoid using plastics, and they should avoid, doing so many things which are, not environment friendly. And at the same time, we need to, even when we are, for example, one of the tours that we do is a Alaska tour. And what we see now, these with global warming, the glaciers and all are going. So we need to create in tourism a fund for sustainability, whereas, the airlines or the cruise companies, when they visit a particular area, they need to, the planet has become very fragile. And whether it is the wildlife which is, getting extinct, or it is the marine life which we see because of oil spills and other things is getting split. So what we need to do is we need to, develop a program where, we talk of sustainability in all levels, whether it is adventure tourism, whether it is domestic tourism, whether it is, what you call uh, any aspect, whether it is cruising, whether it is river cruises. So we need to preserve the planet and the vegetation and the nature for the succeeding generations. That is what we, at least I think, on sustainable tourism. Maybe Dolly Vaseem would like to add something.
Dolly ma'am, I hope.
Yeah, so I this is my specialization, so I'd like to really kind of share some information about whatever I think about the sustainability. And I did my master's in sustainable tourism and destination management. So just to give you the technical definition, what UNWTO calls tourism that takes full account of the current and future economic, social, and environmental impact, addressing the needs of visitors, the industry, and the environment and host communities. When we talk about the sustainable tourism, it refers to all the sustainable practices by the tourism industry. It's an aspiration to acknowledge all impacts of tourism, both positive and negative, and also minimize the negative impacts and maximize the positive impacts. So the negative impacts in the destination include the economic leakage, the damage to the natural environment, and overcrowding, to name a few. The positive destination include job creation, cultural heritage preservation, interpretation, wildlife preservation, and landscape restoration, and much, much more. When we talk about sustainable tourism, we talk about three areas, three terms: ecotourism, green tourism, sustainable tourism, and responsible travel. Now, these are some of the variations of sustainable tourism, and they are the way it is practiced. In ecotourism, mostly is a niche segment which includes the natural areas, whereas sustainable tourism does not refer to a specific type of tourism. Rather, it is an aspiration of impacts of all forms of tourism to be sustainable. Whereas responsible travel is the term which refers to the behavior and the style of individual traveler. The behaviors align with making a positive impact to the destination rather than the negative ones. So when we talk about sustainable tourism, actually is basically addressing the SDG 12, which is responsible production and consumption. And when we talk about sustainable tourism, we don't just talk about the tourist sector, but also the tourists themselves. How they whatever is being produced and whatever is being consumed, both ways it has to be responsible as far as the tourism is concerned. So sustainable tourism has a much bigger impact, and when we talk about the impact, we talk in two terms. One is the industry criteria and other is the destination criteria. The industry criteria basically relates to the sustainable management of private sector travel industry, focusing currently on hotels and tour operators. And the destination criteria relates to the sustainable management of the tourism destination per se. Unfortunately, in India, we don't really bring in the destination so much in focus when we really talk about the tourism development. And in the sustainable tourism, it has to be really brought into more focus, where not only the hotels and accommodation tour operators, but even the governments and the destinations, as well as the corporate and business travel, need to be really brought into fore. So some of the emerging trends in the sustainable tourism are decarbonization, where we talk about the net zero travel, where the decarbonization strategies need to really kind of be a great focus because of our the amount of consumption of or rather the carbon emissions. 8% of the carbon emission actually happens in by the tourism sector. Also, we need to, when we look at the decarbonization strategy, one of this thing is, what is the sequence of decarbonization initiatives? How do we partner to accelerate the decarbonization of business travel? Because business travel is about 45% of the travel business in terms of value. And also say no to some of the things which leisure traveler needs, and how do we really make sure that the leisure traveler right now is the one which really creates a lot of negative impact. So how do we really make sure or ensure that the leisure service providers are actually bringing in sustainability as a core of their business? This is one of the ways how the world is moving, and as I said, one of the major thing that is e-tourism or smart tourism or IC-enabled tourism is where the digitization of all processes and the value chain from travel, hospitality, and catering agencies that enable organizations to maximize their efficiency and efficacy comes into picture. So I think I can go on and on, because this is an area of my great concern and interest. But I will just share one small thing which I would bring in the fore if the time permits. Do I have the permission?
Yeah, sure. Since we're lucky that we don't have anyone else joining.
Right.
So we can give you more time now.
So I will actually.
We need to wind up by 3 o'clock. So we have, you can take another 3-4 minutes, 5 minutes maximum.
So I will just quickly look at when I said in the earlier slide that there are three aspects of it: the people, the planet, and the profits. We need to maximize the profits at the same time causing the least damage to the planet, and keeping the people in the focus, in the core of the entire thing, which is a 3P hybrid business model, which is basically advocated, which basically looks at the context wherever we are, whatever is the tourism destination. In that context, we have to contextualize our sustainable travel or sustainable tourism opportunities, where collaboration is the key, and we work with the local communities as well as really bring in the commerce, not just the tourism commerce, not just the travel service provider, but also the local artisans, local weavers, local educational system, as well as all kinds of commerce activities which that particular city or that particular tourism opportunity which is there. So they also have to be exposed and brought into, because tourism as a marketing activity is the front line for these activities, and they can spur a lot of money or a lot of commerce for these people, and that actually gets into the e-commerce as well. So when we look at, let's say, for example, in the smart tourism opportunity in the luxury segment, the most desirable tourism amenities in the luxury is a personalized experience, high cleanliness standards, and privacy. Now, these are the three most important desirable amenities in the luxury tourism. How can we make them more sustainable? This is where the technology enablement and the transactions which are happening, they actually operate seamlessly in the background, letting the staff focus on the time and energy on using customer data to provide the travelers with the exceptional service, which is what should be the focus. When we talk about the actual impact in terms of the sustainability, we really have we have to look at the greener transportation. 8% of the global emission come from tourism, out of which the major share is on the transportation. That means we need to really look at how do we have transportation, whether it is long distance travel or whether it is a local transport. Local transports have to move towards more sustainable options rather than using diesel and petrol or fossil fuel based transportation to electrical vehicles or energy efficient vehicles. Also, choosing more eco-friendly destinations. While low price continues to be the top travel incentive, option to cancel and also the health regulation play a very important role. Now, 41% travelers do not know how to book a sustainable destination. We don't have any repository of sustainable destination. That means if we want to really bring in sustainable travel to India, we need to make sure that we are able to really create that pool of sustainable destinations which are bookable, and also what kind of experiences that we can help them to curate for them exclusively. Now, also the prioritization of the sustainable accommodations. So 20% of the tourism industry emissions are directly linked to accommodation. That effectively means that if we really look at the transportation, the accommodation, and also really capture the travelers which are looking for sustainable destinations, we are good to go in terms of the when we look at the this is a bit busy slide, but I'm just giving you an overall that we need to look at three layers: the economic layer, the social layer, and the environmental layer, where we not only look at the physical integrity, but also the biological diversity of that particular destination, the resource efficiency, the environmental purity, and the local prosperity, as well as the social equity. Where we have cultural richness, and there is a community where the community well-being can be brought into the core, where there is not only a visitor fulfillment but also a contribution to the community well-being. So what kind of tourism can we offer in that stage? We can offer a heritage tourism. We can offer even for the matter, I mean, during the COVID time, it never goes into the tourism this thing, but health tourism forms a major part of the tourism, even if it is through a remote care. So right now, in terms of during the pandemic, I know of couple of doctors who were managing at least 10 to 15 hospitals in the US from India through remote care. That stats don't go into the tourism opportunity. I mean, if we are really looking at the tourism, we should be actually looking at that also, because there are experts sitting in India who have been actually doing remote care for hospitals in the US and elsewhere in the world. The same way, when we look at the culture, the local culture, the local heritage, the local this thing, so sustainable culture, sustainable society, sustainable environment, and sustainable economy. Economy is not just the economy of, it is a circular economy that we are referring to, where we are repurposing the waste, bringing in waste into whatever waste is being generated in the tourism, need to really recycle it back and make sure that we really have, and there is where the real sustainable tourism really can come into picture. In terms of the Udaipur, my experience has been that we planned a lot of multiple activities, which include the G20 Sherpa meeting was already announced as Udaipur. This thing, we had a 4 days meet there. World Music Festival happened just a little after that. For a 3-day and art festival in Pacific University in the culture, which takes care of the culture art, again a sustainable event for 5 days. And these are some of the pictures. Today, Udaipur is ranked as the second smart city in the 2022. And the whole combination of bringing in smart cities into the tourism, and especially if it is done through a sustainability into this thing, can yield a huge result for destinations which have not been really considered as the a major contributor to the economy, the tourism economy, and has been left out by the regular travel agencies and the tour operators, can become a big money spinner. Udaipur today has a higher ARR than is the second highest ARR anywhere in the country, and this is been retained even during the period of COVID as well as after. And just after the meet, the tourism meet, the G20 meet, Sherpa meet, the rise of the tourist in Udaipur has risen from 25,000 to 55,000. So that's the kind of opportunity space that we are really looking at. We need to now focus on tracking how we could really make maximum use of it and reimagining the world where we have much more than this thing, which involves all engagement with all stakeholders, which are ready to contribute their time and energy to really make both the ends meet, both the tourists as well as the citizens of India. And thank you very much for this opportunity to share my this is a very passionate area. For last 3 years, I've been spending a lot of time to really make this thing, especially on this, as well as handloom tourism and heritage circuits. So these offer a huge opportunity. I'd be happy to really partner with any tourism travel operator who can really take this forward and kind of help not only just rethink tourism, but actually reshape the tourism in this manner. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think you have done a very comprehensive and a very nice presentation. You talked about people, planet, and profit. I would like to add 5 more P's to it. One is promotion, positioning, preserving the environment, prosperity, and ultimately bringing peace. So these 8 P's are what you can sum up is tourism is all about. And once again, I think we are bang on time. It's 3 o'clock. and we need to wind up our. I think Dr. Gulshansharma, the great legend of the one of the persons I really admire, who has done. I think, have you crossed the million mark of webinars? How many webinars you have done, Dr. Gulshansharma?
Chitra ma'am would be knowing better. I think we are going to touch about 1800, sir.
Wow, wow.
And before that, we have done about 4,000. This is 1800 is during pandemic.
But you have broken the Guinness Book of World Record.
Sir, you will recommend my case, then only it will go to Guinness Book.
No, I will recommend your case for Padam Shri, but
no, I don't want no Shri, sir.
But I think it's really a pleasure, and I think you are doing a great job. And
thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Bringing people from all over the planet.
I've got few things to share with you.
Origin together.
Chairman, sir.
Of Dr. Gulshansharma.
Chairman, sir, before we wind up this session, I've got few things to share with you. Heart to heart, soul to soul, mind to mind, spirit to spirit, vision to vision. You know, we all wear two hats in life. One is for the public and one is inner engineering, which goes on. I'm coming from the cremation ground after cremating 35-year-old boy in my family who died last night. But I had to do that duty also. And the show also must go on. We learned from Raj Kapoor. So let's move on to, because real life is Mera Naam Joker. And that's also a part of tourism when we talk about. I wish to ask Goel sir one thing. I hold you in a very high esteem, and I have learned so much in the last at least 4 decades. I have been associated with you while being on deputation with the ministry and institutions and everything. Sir, why domestic tourism is not integral part of Indian education ecosystem? When we say geography, history, culture, art, craft, cuisine, dances, music, if we are talking about Dekho Apna Desh, and 6 months, I still recall 1997 when I have gone for All India Tourism Quiz Contest on ground, I could not see entire India. Having served in the armed forces also, excuse me, I could not see entire India till date. Why don't we have in the vocational education, in the NCERT, domestic tourism part of India as an integral part of education and skills? Why it should be separate? Subhash Goel, Dr. Subhash Goel, sir.
Sir, I have been saying the same thing. We are on the same wavelength. When I was General Secretary of Faith, Federation of the entire tourism industry, I had written to the government, particularly when they were not opening up after COVID-19. I said 2 things need to be done. One is that in the entire secondary education system, we must make visiting the neighboring states compulsory, just like in many countries, armed forces is compulsory for 1 year, or national service is compulsory for 1 year. I said you must have a compulsory period where students visit another state. So whichever state they choose, that way the people from the north should come to the south and the south to come to the north, and east to west, and so on and so forth. And then they must write an essay, or there should be a full marks paper on what is the economic potential of that state, what is the geographical and what is the tourism potential of that state. And this way, I think we will not only be able to increase domestic tourism, but we will be able to bring them together. Our ancient, religious leaders, they talked about Char Dham. When you talk about Char Dham, right from South India to Eastern India to Northern India to all the way to Western India, you see people had to travel. So when you do the Char Dham, you cover whole of India virtually, north, south, east, west. So similarly, I think it's a great great suggestion. And we need to include this in the curriculum. And I had suggested this when the Kothari Commission was also being written. That time I was the president of Delhi University. I had suggested to Dr. D.S. Kothari that within India, Bharat Dekho, or Bharat, we had a Bharat Dekho program by the Ministry of Tourism, but we should actually have, Bharat Darshan on the ground. So I think before we wind up, with your permission, Dr. Gulshansharma, Captain Sudesh Kumar has just joined us.
Sir, we will take him in, we'll take him in the next session. We'll take him in the next session, sir.
Next session, because
we'll take him in the next session.
Shivaji, good afternoon. I've been promoted to the next session.
Sir, आपका नाम मैंने 3 बार बुलाया.
I apologize. I thought it's okay. माफी चाहूंगा.
All good things take time. So thank you very much, Dr. Gulshansharma, for giving us this opportunity, and I'm sure you continue doing the excellent work that you're doing, and I'm always there at your service whenever you need me.
Thank you, sir.
And maybe next time you can invite me virtually to Chandigarh.
Thank
and
you,
I think once or twice I've been to our institution and did give lectures there.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. I've started believing, enjoying technology so much that I do not want to meet anybody. Everything should be virtual. Everything should be technology based. All of us, wherever we are, we save so much of time when we are not traveling, hanging around everywhere and all. And so much of knowledge is coming from world over. Chitra ma'am and my team, we are coming out with the 3 volumes, volume 1, volume 2, volume 3. During the pandemic, whatsoever, global reservoir of the wisdom which we have brought as a confluence of knowledge of the world. We are coming in 3 volumes. We'll share what pandemic has given us. The only unfortunate part is that the Ministry of Commerce and Industry, Government of India, did not give any leverage to tourism industry. Everybody had been talking about, all associations have been talking about, but I'm sorry, sir, the hand-holding was not given to tourism industry or hospitality industry at all. This is the industry which suffered during the pandemic. I'll have heart-to-heart talk with you one of these days because I have to learn so much from you in this lifetime. So much.
Last word with your permission. अधिकार जो है ना, वो मांगने से नहीं मिलते, हमें छीनने पड़ते हैं. तो बड़ी मुश्किल से हमने लड़ के ओपन स्काई कराया. बड़ी मुश्किल से लड़ के मैंने ई-वीजा कराया. I only know I fought with the government for 15 to 20 years, and finally when Arun Jaitley was there, he promised he'll get it done, and he did it. And I was president of IATO that time, and we announced it in a Ashoka hotel, and the Home Minister and the Tourism Minister were with me when we announced e-visa, and e-visa is a game changer.
Wonderful.
So is Open Sky.
Wonderful,
so I think in my own humble way, whatever little I have been able to contribute with the help and guidance of people like you.
Thank you, sir.
I have a lot of sense of satisfaction.
There's so much to learn from Dr. Subhash Goel. He's the eminent tourism strategist of India. And we got the engineer Dolly Basin also, that is believing in technology. When I heard her the other day and now today also, I just stepped in and that time. Yes. And all other dignitaries, Gurdeep ma'am has gone. She joined us from Canada in the middle of the night. She's based out of Canada.
Thank you very much, sir.
Yeah, thank you. And Captain sir, I will take you to the next flight. Business class ticket we'll give you from Dr. Subhash Goel ji.